this evening's welcome to this evening's thought sharing on some stories drawn from Mahabharata. First thing which I would always like to clarify is that much of our works on heritage, from our heritage which is more than 5,000 years old, many of them are not properly understood because of translation. Okay. For example, Mahabharat, when you see what it is, people will either call it an epic or will call it, luckily these days they don't call it mythology anymore. Mahabharat is classified as itihasa. In Sanskrit, itihasa means it's history. It so happened. And it is also called what is called an Amara Kavya. Amara Kavya means immortal poem. So a historic event told by a poet in the form of a poetry. So there will be some, what do you say, exaggeration. We call it poetic license. For instance, a small incident, when Sri Ram had to come back to Ayodhya, he came in a Pushpaka Viman. Pushpaka Viman had a capacity for Ram, Lakshman, Sita and Hanuman. Slowly all the Vanaras also got into it. And itna chota sa viman, how so many people? So that it keeps expanding in size. That's what they say. It is a poet's license. The poetic beauty of the expression. So much of the translation have somehow given it an image as though it is just fiction and things like that. We'll have to look at it differently. It is not just fiction, it is history. And it is immortal poem. That's one thing. Some of the translations we have to use very, very understand it properly. I won't say carefully. We have to understand it properly. So I'm going to use some words which are given in the Mahabharata and see how it is translated, how we can understand it better. See, in Mahabharata, they very often refer to words as Yaksha, Rakshasa. And you would have seen a picture, teeth outside, blood and all those things. Asuras, Vanara, Kinnara. These expressions are used. Now, how do you understand these expressions? So the English translation will be demon. Okay. Demon, demigod. Yeah, these are the translations which cause more problem than solutions. Okay, let's understand it this way. Yakshas and Rakshasas are tribal folks who used to stay in the highland mountain regions. So if you are a person living in highland mountain regions, you will have certain special physical powers. You will have immunity against the insect bites, particularly poisonous insect bites. Here, mosquitoes can give you malaria. There, even cobra will not give you death. Okay, then you will have the ability to climb mountains, sleep on trees, sleep on grass. And then jungles means you will have in those days, let's say go back 5,000 years. You will have long dadi. There is a facility to bath in highland. So you will be foul smelling. That's how a Rakshasa will be described. And people living in those regions will have, raw meat. For example, people living in the Arctic Circle, many of them eat raw meat. People living in sub-zero temperatures, you can't have cooked masala fried stuff as you have here. Similarly, people living in very hot regions have certain special physical powers. So these people who are living in the high mountain regions are called as Rakshasas. Then the lower mountain regions living near the water bodies, they are called Yakshas. So Yaksha will have the power to swim underwater for a long time. Okay, like an alligator, dolphins, they can stay underwater for a long time. Then you come to dense forest lands. dense forest lands, you have vanaras. Folks living in dense forest lands are called vanaras. There is also another subspecies called kinnara. Kinnara means you don't know. Kinnara, is it a man or an animal? Kinnara. So you have a mixture of all these folks, they will be referred. Then comes the civilization. In the civilization, you have Manusha. Outside the civilization, people who don't follow proper ethics and dharma and things like that. Once again, please let not the word dharma create problems. Dharma quite simply means doing what is proper and what is appropriate. So if food is given, you have to eat it in a particular manner. Eating it like that. If it is not eaten, they'll say adharma. Adharma means not following what is proper, what is not appropriate. So people who lived in a civilization, following the civilization, were called Manushya. People living outside the civilization, following whatever law they wanted, like the mafia, they are called Asuras. Okay, so look at the terms. Yaksha, Rakshasa, Asura, Vanara, these are the expressions. So whereas in our book translation, we say demon. So the first story which I'm going to share with you is the story descending from Bhima, Bhima's wife Hidimba, their son Ghatotkacha, Ghatotkacha's wife, and Ghatotkacha had a son called Barbarik. I'm going to tell you this story. Not only I'm going to tell you this story, I'm going to relate this story to modern day business and war strategy. Alliance strategy, war strategy, business strategy. So I'm going to relate to all of them, including our personal lives. Okay. So Bhima, the second of the Pandavas, once when they were in that, they were in short exile, when they were almost burnt down in that Lac Palace, and they were resting in the forest, they were charged by a Rakshasa called Hidimba. Hidimba. Rakshasa, meaning somebody living in highlands, one who possibly is a cannibal, one who eats raw meat. So such a person. So he had his sister called Hidimbi. So because of Rakshasas, the story says that she changed dress into a very beautiful looking maiden and she attracted Bhima. And when Bhima came, the Rakshasa Hidimba came to attack Bhima and Bhima killed Hidimba. And now Hidimbi says, you have killed my protector. My Rakshasa brother, he may be a Rakshasa, but he is my brother and he was my protector. Now you have killed him. So she says, according to dharma, means according to what is proper and what is appropriate, you should give me protection now. She appeals to that. And Kunti, the mother, says she is right. So what is the man, what protection can a man give to a lady who is not related to him, who is not his blood relative? The relationship is marriage. So Bhima married Hidimba. But she was a Rakshasi. You can't cohabit with a Rakshasi for a lifetime. She says, by giving me protection, you have given me protection. I don't insist that you live with me lifelong. Live with me for 1 year. Okay? During that 1 year, perhaps you will bless me with a child and that will be the protection for me. So Bhima and Hidimba, they lived together for 1 year. Hidimba, Akar. So they lived together for 1 year. A boy was born, Ghatotkacha. Why he was Ghatotkacha? Ghata means his head was like a pot and Utkacha, no hair. So he was named Ghatotkacha. And being a Rakshasa, he could take a huge step. They say Siddhis are there. Now you can't say prove scientifically how can he become tree high, how can he become sky high and things like that. You're a fellow with a tremendous physique, huge body. And the story goes that he met Krishna in one place and Krishna said, oh, you are Bhimputra Ghatotkacha, then if you join the Pandava army, it will be helpful. So he was inducted to join the Pandava army. Much later, okay, when we read the original Mahabharata story, I don't find reference to Barbaric at all. This looks like the story has been added much later. I'm not going to research when it was added. So a character called Barbaric is introduced. He was introduced before the war. Everybody says, like, Barbaric has come, Barbaric has come, Barbaric has come. So what is Barbaric's power? Barbaric is born of a Rakshasa. Okay, Ghatotkacha is born of a Rakshasa and a Kshatriya. Barbaric is born of the second generation of such a combination. So he has extraordinary physical powers. Apart from extraordinary physical powers, he went to various acharyas and learned all kinds of Dhanur Vidya and things like that. Finally, he was blessed with a great boon. The boon is he will have only 3 arrows. Only 3 arrows in his quiver. And the 3 arrows will have extraordinary power. The first arrow will pick out and mark all the enemies. Okay. The second arrow will tie all the enemies together. The third arrow will destroy all of them. This was his power. The story goes that Krishna was asking various people, how long which will take for you to finish this war? Bhishma said 28 days, Karna said 24 days, Duryodhan said 28 days, Arjun said 20 days. People said various days. They asked Barbaric. He said 1 day. He said 1 day? Yes. He says, I have an arrow, which I release will mark all my enemies. Second arrow will tie the enemies. Third arrow will finish them off on the same day. In a few minutes, in a few shana, I can end the war. That was his power. Obviously, everybody said, oh my God, what a powerful warrior. So Krishna went to meet him. And they asked him, what are your special powers? What is so special about you? And which side do you want to fight with? It is like our IPL auction. Which team do you want to join? Okay. So he says, when I came out, my mother gave me a boon and took a promise from me that I will always fight for the weak people. I will fight for the weak and oppressed. That is the promise that I've made my mother. So now, not just Krishna, it is for you and all of us to think. Barbaric is come. So Krishna asks him, which side will you fight? He says, obviously, Kauravas are 11 Akshohini. Akshohini means formations, divisions. Pandavas are 7 Akshohini. So Pandavas are weaker. I will fight for the Pandavas. Okay, everybody says, very good, very good, very good. Krishna says, think. What will happen on first day? You will pick up an arrow, mark all the Kauravas. Second arrow, tie all the Kauravas. Patak, gone. Now, who is the weak side now? Kauravas are the weak side. So he'll automatically go to the Kaurava side. And he had special powers. After using those 3 arrows, the 3 arrows will come back to him. So now what will happen? Pandava. You will say Pandavas are stronger. 3 arrows, Pandavas gone. 1 Kaurava less. So ultimately what will happen? Pandavas gone. Kauravas gone. Only Barbaric left. This kind of victory is called a Pyrrhic victory. Pyrrhic victory means I destroy everything around me and I alone survive. Okay, it is like fighting for a property. I win the property, everybody is gone. I am the only fellow left with so many acres of land and bank deposits. The only friend I have is possibly the IT. So this is the condition. Now, can you allow this warrior to fight in the war? If you allow him to fight in the war, what would happen? It would be counterproductive. So here comes Krishna with a strategy. He says, at this point of time, you had some boons. I was the person who gave you proper insight into understanding the power of these boons and understanding your true power. Therefore, as your guru, you have to give me Guru Dakshina. So Barbarik says, yes, who else can have a guru like Sri Krishna? So I am willing to give you any gift that you ask, any dakshina that you, I don't want to use the word gift, any dakshina that you ask for. What did Krishna ask for? He said, give me your head. Okay, Barbarik took the sword out and said, take it off. He said, no, dakshina is not taken, dakshina is given. So you have to cut your own head and give it to me. Okay, so Barbarik cuts his own head and gives it to Krishna as a dakshina. And the story goes, story goes that Barbarik's head speaks to Krishna. He said, I want a boon from you. The boon is, I want to see the war totally. Start to finish, I want to see the war. Can you give me that boon? Krishna says, given, that boon is given. So the story goes that he put up a 3-fork stand. On top of it, Barbarik's head was placed, and Barbarik watched the whole action unfold. Okay, at the end of the war. So everybody goes to Barbarik and says, Bhishma says, sorry, all those fellows are come. Arjun says, I won the war. I am responsible. Bhima says, no, I am responsible. So he says, who actually is the hero? Drishtadyumna says, I was the commander. So he says, who was the real hero? So there's the only person who watched the war from start to finish. He's Barbarik. Let's go and ask Barbarik. So they go to Barbarik and ask him, Barbarik, tell us who is the hero of this war? He says, what hero? I saw only Sudarshana Chakra. I saw Krishna everywhere. There's a great philosophy behind this. There are two very important steps. People who have been listening to Kabir Das ke Dohe in this forum. And so many people listen to Kabir Das ke Dohe. There is a lovely Doha there. Okay, that's a very beautiful Doha. It says, goes like this. Ye tan bish ki belri, Guru Amrit ki khan. Ye tan bish ki belri, Guru Amrit ki khan. Siish diya jo Guru mile, ye to bhi sasta jaan Kabira, to bhi sasta jaan. In your life, the human birth is unique. Manushya janma durlabha. Then they say, mumukshutva durlabhataram, even more durlabha. Mumukshutva means spirit of inquiry. Kya ho raha hai bhaiya? And Mahapurusha samshraya means your life is made. And for getting that Mahapurusha, you have to give your head. So giving the head quite simply here means surrendering my ego to the Guru. I accept the Guru and surrender the Guru for the unfolding of the knowledge. So this Barbarik story is one such story. which shows, how surrender to the Guru is very, very important. When the Guru asks, yes, no questions asked. Well, the Guru has an ultimate benefit for me. Another thing, taking off of the head, quite simply means ahankar ko khatam karo. Because the story says that when Krishna wanted Barbarik to prove, show me here, show me what you can do. So Barbarik first takes out an arrow and he says, okay, I will first mark all the leaves on this tree. So when he's trying to mark the leaf, Krishna picks one leaf and puts it under his foot. Second arrow, when he releases, almost all the leaves are tied, but the arrow is hovering around Krishna's foot. Barbarik says, Krishna, there is something under your foot. So that is so powerful. And then he also tells Krishna, Krishna, your leg has become weak now because of my arrow. So beware, watch your feet. So the story goes that Krishna was actually killed by a Vyagra's arrow which hit him on the leg. So the leg has become weak. So Krishna understood his prowess. Not only his prowess. See, too much power, not knowing how to use the power is also not very healthy. So sometimes these kind of powers have to be neutralized. So one of the best method of neutralizing is to make the person a war observer. Rather than get fight in the war, make you an observer, write reports. Keep writing, this fellow is bad, that fellow is bad, that adharma happened, this adharma happened, write commentary. Okay, and this is the tactic. For example, see when we are having, these cricket auctions are going on. People are joining cricket auctions. And hey, why don't you allow all 11 players in the team as foreigners? Isn't it? We can have, they said no, only so many overseas players. And out of so many overseas players in 11, only so many can play. In England, we have a professional county. Hey, why can't they get all the West Indians to come and play in England? They say, no, you can play, each team can take, county can take only 2 or 3 players. And at any point of time, only 2 can play or 3 can play. Because of some international arrangements, because of some international practices. So we had a law called the Gleneagles Agreement, out of which South Africa was kept out of cricket for 20 years or more because of wrong policies. So rather than look at the story only, because what happens is we have this translators and people, right? Krishna was mischief maker. Barbarik ka sar hata diya. He made a good war, prevented a good warrior from fighting in the war. Think, what was the use of such a warrior who ends up destroying all the sites? And a brief mention of this has also been made by very big scholars in saying that when you give special privileges to certain sections of the society, it has to be given very, very carefully. It should not be given in such a way that it weakens the other side. It can help certain sections progress, but if it weakens the other section, then it is these special privileges are not recommended. This is a beautiful story of Barbarik, how Barbarik can be related to our personal lives, even when making friends. One, making friends, another, your own thought process. Suppose somebody asks you, hey, which side are you? What's your answer? You can say no comment. Suppose, I have always support the weak side. Kya baat hai? So when one side is winning, the other side will automatically become weak. So you will go and play for the other side. And that fellow starts winning, you will come back for this side. So this is called, oscillating decision making. Na idhar ke na wo na kya kehte hai na Hindi mein. Oh, that say na ghat ka gadha, na ghar ka na dhobi ka. You become somebody like not here, na vyavastha, na here, not there, neither here, not there. No vyavastha in your life. Barbarik's story is such a beautiful story. He's a yaksha with a great amount of power. One more lesson for all of us, especially for people in the software industry. There are people, these days, foreign clients are asking, I want somebody who will be a master of all these products, all these software, all this technology, and I am employing him. How long will he stay with me? Okay. Then, after he switches sides, I send him to US on a US visa. And the moment he goes to USA, he'll leave me, join another company. Look at that. There's a problem facing most of the software companies in India. They go there, the fellow changes, because he's got a visa, he gets working visa there, he will join another company. You have to tie him down. So this has implication everywhere in life. That's why we say the stories are not just stories. We have to look into the stories with a great amount of insight. It is not just a story. Don't take it as a macabre head-cutting story. It is just a metaphor. He as though took off the head, as though destroyed his pride. That is a beautiful. Of course, finally, when Barbaric says, I only saw Krishna everywhere, it has a very beautiful significance from the Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, there is a beautiful verse. Brahmarpanam Brahma Hevihi Brahmagnav Brahmanavatam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. There is only Brahma here. Brahma here means Brahman. Nothing else is there. There is only absolute reality. That's a philosophy. That's not the subject matter of today's talk. Someday, when we have a forum, different forum, we'll discuss this in detail. In fact, Fridays, I do a small satsang. People are willing, they can join that. So, this story from the Mahabharata has deep philosophical significance, has Guru Bhakti, has strategy, has skill. Is it necessary to learn all the skills? Is it worth knowing all the skills? If you're knowing all the skills, what is it that you don't want to do with all these skills? It's a thought. It leaves you with a thought. This is the story of Barbaric. Not available in the main Mahabharata, that has been added much later. Okay, now the next story, which I'm going to share with you, is a character called Ekalavya. Okay, so Ekalavya comes from a Nishada tribal. So naturally, in politics, they'll say he's a tribal. Brahman ne uski ungli kaati. See how stories are distorted. The essence of the story is lost. And the story is highlighted into all that is not supposed to. So in Barbaric story, there is a Highlander fellow uska sar kaat diya. And Ekalavya ungli kaat diya. Brahman ne ungli kaat diya. Ekalavya was an archer. He wanted to learn archery from Dronacharya. He goes to Dronacharya and he says, Dronacharya, ji, I would like to learn from you. He sees Dronacharya teaching the Pandavas and he says, can I learn from you? So Pandava says, Dronacharya says, okay, give me your lineage. Okay, what is this lineage? Lineage is quite simply your eligibility. You want to join IIM, can anybody walk into IIM? Oh, you have to do CAT, then you have to do some other test, you have to do interview, group discussions. Finally, they will select only 5 people from this group, 4 people from that group. So everywhere there are eligibility restrictions. You just can't walk just because you think you have the qualification, you can't walk. So Dronacharya said, in my school, I teach princes. I teach only princes in my school. So sorry, no admission. You are not a prince according to the Kshatriya prince. In fact, not just princes, I am on contract to teach only Kaurava and Pandava princes, not even other princes. I am on contract. Bhishma has given me contract. I am on the employ of Bhishma, so I cannot teach you. I cannot admit you in that school. So Ekalavya, what he did, when Dronacharya walked away, he picked up the mud from under his foot, put it on his forehead, and also made a small statue of Dronacharya. And keeping that statue, he He had that statue, and keeping that statue there, he started practicing archery every day. Every day, every hour, he practiced. So one day, what happened when these people were coming? Arjun saw a dog, and the dog, I mean, could not bark because the arrows were crisscrossing its mouth, but it was not hurt. The only thing is, his mouth was as though in a mesh; it could not bark. Arjun saw, my God, what archery skill! Then Drona asked his boys, "Who are you?" He said, "Ekalam." He said, "Who is your teacher?" "You are my teacher." He said, "I am your teacher. When did you teach me? When did I teach you?" "I observed you and learned." He said, "Okay, you have to give me Guru Dakshin." "Yes, whatever you ask for. Is give me your right thumb as a Guru Dakshin." So his skill was as though finished. And everybody says the Drona Dharma kya, not proper to do this, that is a commentary. Okay, it's all personal view. I've got nothing against you. These people can say anything. A story, you can comment anything you like. You can make a movie on it if you like. Okay, but there is a very important story there. It is also in practice business like in business industry. Tomorrow you set up your own software company. Okay, you use pirated software and you are running $1 billion business. Okay, the original owner comes to know. What will he tell you? He will say, "You are employing so many people, you have worked so hard, keep it." He will go to court. There is something called IPR, intellectual property rights. He will disable you, number one. You have got iPhone, you know. Give it to some local fellow and then go to the iPhone shop. First, you go to the local fellow, won't touch it. But if the local fellow touches it and then you take it to iPhone service center, see what he says. He says, "Sorry, sir, somebody has touched it. I won't touch it." There is something called intellect. And these Americans fellow said turmeric is our making. So just as you have intellectual property, Dronacharya's teaching of particular skills were his intellectual property. He taught Arjun how to fire arrows with eyes closed in total darkness and reach the spot. So this is a special teaching. And this person has observed and downloaded the software illegally. So what is the punishment? I have to disable you, no choice. This is the law. This is proper. Okay, then what happened to Ekalavya? It's not mentioned anywhere later. In one Upakatha I read that he became an archery teacher. He started teaching people how to do work, how to fire. And he was the advisor to, what do you call, Kauravas. Why Kauravas? Why not be with the Pandava side? He said, Dronacharya, though he gladly gave the Guru Dakshina, he says he disabled me. So I can't work with him. And the story also goes that he was reborn as Drishtadyumna, and Drishtadyumna went and killed Dronacharya. Some stories say that. I'm not going into all that. And that is only going to say karma phala and things like that. But we have to understand there's something very important. The sacrifice a teacher made for his student. Pran jaye par vachan na jaye. Dronacharya made a statement to Arjun. I will make you the most skilled archer in the world. Archer means Arjun. That will be the standard. Having given that word, the Guru said, even if I face what do you call blame for adharma, if I get papa for that, doesn't matter. But I will stand by the word. So he not only did not allow Ekalavya to rise. So it is not just seen as a story of thumb taking away. It is also the taking of a Guru's word. There is one more lesson in this, which is very, very important, is many people very often say, very often in India, I've seen a lot of people say, If only I had the right opportunity, I would have reached there. This is called wool gathering. This is called wool gathering. Like for instance, see, when the interview call came in, not call up. They called me to join the Reserve Bank of India. I got an appointment to come and join on such and such a day. And on that particular day in Calcutta, I had an appointment for audition with a very famous music director on that particular day. Then I asked my father, what should I do? My father said, if you go work for Reserve Bank, it will be good for the family. But if you go for audition, go, no problem. Who knows when you will be successful, but you are reasonably good in singing, so do what? All other relatives is who will listen to you. But my father said, at least now some people, seniors today, listen to me. So I even won a prize here. So what happened was, I decided and joined the Reserve Bank. I went to a very senior position. I can always come and tell you, if only I had gone for audition, I would have been so and so today. And I've also been a nobody today. This is called wool gathering. So many of us in the Ekalavya standard will say, if only Guru Drona had not done this for me, I would have become this. If only I had got proper net practice, I would have become spinner. I would have become fast bowler. If only I had gone toward that time, I would have been this. If I had been brought towards Madhubala's time, I would have married her. You will say, no, all these things people say. Not a rubbish people say. It's called wool gathering. It's a story. The story stands for one thing. If you don't get opportunities, seize the opportunity at hand. अगर आपको सिखाने वाला नहीं मिले, तो खुद सीखो. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, you are your own friend. Atma mitraha. Atma ripuhu. You are your own enemy. You can take the initiative. Many of us here are not formally trained singers. But many of us listen to music program, this program, that program. I must give a lot of respect in there. Folded hand respect to the people who used to play keyboard when I was singing. A fellow with a keyboard corrected my entire singing. He taught me one song how to sing properly. Everything else fell into place. So, if you don't get chance, don't say this. See, we all have, especially in India, in the rest of the world, they will only say they and me. They are all against me. In India, we have 9 more people against. You know who are they? 9 planets. Of the 9 planets, you will take out 4. Rahu, Ketu, Shani. Rahu, Ketu, Shani, and who has one more planet? 4 planets are against me. So they are good at finding excuses for our non-success. Ekalavya is a simple Drishtanta for not giving excuses for failure. This is Ekalavya, Guru Bhakti, hard self-effort to learn. Many people are self-taught. They are self-taught and have got great accomplishments. So that is the self-taught. Okay. The third story. The third story is about a character which all of us know. But I want to look into special aspect of that character. The character was born to a princess with the blessings of Surya. But she gave birth to the child before she was married, and so because of social stigma, she put the child away, gave the child away. The child was discovered by a person, foundling was discovered by a person called Radhe, Adhirata, and a wife Radha. So he was named Radheya. He also got not the name Karna because his ears had golden earrings. Born with golden earrings. Arey, kya baat? Just imagine born with golden earrings today. So he was called Karna. Okay. We know Karna's story, but I want to go into certain specific aspects of Karna. Karna also means ears. Okay. There is a very important philosophical truth behind Karna. For example, in Hindi, there is an expression, Kaan ka kacha. Kaan ka kacha means you listen to everybody. Somebody says, hey Karna, you are low born. He has taken it to heart. Hey Karna, you are not a Kshatriya. You are not fit to participate in Swayambara. So you take it to heart. Another person says, I am a Kshatriya warrior, Bhishma. I cannot fight with Karna, a low born warrior. Okay, I will not fight. A person who gives credence to everything he hears the problem case. He is writing his own disaster story. You should know what to listen. If not what to listen, what to filter, how to understand. If you are going to take everything that you hear to heart, it's a problem. Somebody says you are a good singer. I am very happy. It happens. It just happens to a lot of people. All of us have gone through that. Everybody says. So we write, you are a good singer. That fellow personally messages. Sir, how did I sing, sir? So I take him very seriously. I told him in this particular place, you did not touch the highest note properly. His reply is, everybody says I am good. You are the only fellow who says I am not. Hey, what do I tell you? So then why do you come and ask me? So these days, what I put, anybody sings anything, I will say excellent singing. I don't give opinion in that. I said opinion ke liye paisa lagta hai. If you want opinion, 8,000 rupees remit karo, I will send you opinion along with how the line is to be sung. At least I can make some money in the party. So Karna was Kaan ka kacha. Not only was he Kaan ka kacha, means one who's hearing, he took everything seriously. A person who takes everything seriously also has a certain psychological problem. A psychological problem of self non-acceptance. I am not good as I am. How is it seen? You will change your name. Your father would have named you nice name. Santana Gopala Krishnan. So he will go to USA and become Santan. I actually met a fellow. Okay, he came from USA. I was in Reserve Bank, Chennai. He came and gave me a call. Batman. I said, kya naam hai yaar? He said, my original name is Padmanabhan. I'll become Batman. Then the USA, they call me Bat. So what a lovely name. Padmanabhan has become one Bat, Vawwal. In Bengali, they say Idur. No, Idur. What is it called? Yeah, something like that. Bat. So, name not acceptable. Face not acceptable. Because your face is not acceptable, because your complexion is not acceptable. In India, an industry runs. It says, you will become white, you will get married. An industry runs. USA-based industry is selling cream to you, saying you are dark, so you cannot get married. You apply it for 21 days, everybody will come and marry. Then they said the man also wants to become fair. Self non-acceptance. Karna suffered from self non-acceptance. Because of self non-acceptance, when somebody said, you are Raja, he said, you are Raja, and I give you undying friendship. So you don't accept yourself. Some mafia fellow comes and says, you are hero. So you will support mafia all your life and you will die in encounter. That's what happened to him. He died in an encounter. No dharma to protect. Krishna says, he says, I am not wrong. I am unarmed. Krishna says, sorry, you are not unarmed. You are disarmed. And where was all this dharma, proper, improper, when you killed Abhimanyu? Where was all this? Sorry, you will be shot down. For your punya, he did a lot of punya. Great charitable man. In fact, there is a lovely story, Krishna was once asked, who is a great charitable person? Krishna said, Karna. Bhishma and our Bhima and Arjun were very annoyed. They said, you are saying Yudhishthir had, you are saying Karna. He said, no, Karna. He says, prove it. So Krishna gave both of them a big heap of gold. And he told them, distribute. So Yudhishthira announced, I am going to distribute, please stand in the queue. Karna said, it is on the wayside. I am going out. When I come back, I don't want anything here. Now tell me, who is a bigger Danveer? I don't want anything. He had a kavacha and a kundala, which gave him immortality. Surya came and warned him. Indra will come and take this away from you. Be careful. He said, never mind. My life is not as valuable as my power to give. Remember something, if we have the power to give, that's why dana is so great in our culture. When you give dana, you're a free person. You're a free person from inside. That what do you give dana? You give dana as your possessions. Right now, what happens? So all these things are gripping you. There are so many monkeys on my head. What is my house monkey, family monkey, mobile phone monkey, laptop monkey? Start giving them away. No monkey on your head. You're a free person. And if you are giving vidya dhana, your growth is ensured. So Karna is always defied as a vidya dhana person. But not a good person to be friends with. Because they say, the Sabha, when Draupadi Vastraharan was taking place, Duryodhana said, bring her. And she said, I cannot come because I am not in the right state to come to the Sabha. Karna tells a lady who has 5 husbands is equal to a Vaishya, drag her. So he primarily says, Veja warrior, always violence. So a great character, but unfortunately the greatness of the character got blemished in these areas. We are not supposed to stand on judgment on any of these characters. There's no judgment at all. Absolutely no judgment. But these characters are meant for you and I to learn. Am I like this? Do I have self-non? This is something all of us have to check. Do I have self-non-acceptance? How to check whether you are not self-non-acceptance? Simple. Simple. I am giving a talk today. I am looking at, let's say, 26 participants have come. I look at another person's lecture and I see 150 participants have come from him. So now I say, mere talk koi sunte aata hi nahi. This is the first non-acceptance. You have, depending upon the number of participants here for your own well-being. So if 2 people come, I will not have any quality. If 226 people come, I will do bakwas. Depending upon people for acknowledgement, depending upon people for my well-being, emotional well-being. Till I have the latest model, I am not satisfied. Depending upon things for my emotional well-being. Depending upon complexion, nose shape. There is a big shape. For changing shape of nose, people are standing in queue now. Whose nose you want? Poor lady, Kaat ke Sridevi's a beautiful looking nose became something like this, parrot nose. So non-acceptance, face tightening operation. What is that? Bitox or something like that? It's a self-non-acceptance. There are so many characters in the Mahabharata. In the given time, I would like to speak about one more character and how sometimes it is good to avoid conflict, even if you are the most powerful one. So there was a character called Jarasandha. They say his father had 2 wives but no children. So he asked a Muni for some medicine. He gave him an apple. He said, ask your wife to eat it, a son will be born. So whenever you take medicine, take proper instructions. There are doctors here. Take proper instructions. He decided to give 1/2 to one wife. Each half. So two children were born with half bodies. And because they look monstrous, they were discarded. A goddess, a tribal goddess from the village picked her up and joined them together. Her name was Jara. She joined them. So he became Jarasandha. And he was invincible in battle. He was the Raja of Magda. And Mathura was a neighboring state. Mathura had Krishna and Balarama, great warriors. Magda and Krishna and Mathura had 21 battles. At the end of 21 battles, Krishna said, don't waste your resources with this fellow. Let us shift our capital from Mathura to Dwaraka. So even Krishna moved.
Mission.
Even Krishna moved.
Yes, I called her. She's coming.
So it is not just that the enemy is too powerful. When the enemy, fighting the enemy ends up in having what he call draining of resources, move away. When you see a dushta, dur ho jao dushta se, because it's waste of resources. But that doesn't mean go away from every enemy. Even you have to be appropriate, this is decisive skills. And then go, and then sometimes if you cannot defeat that enemy, you have to find another fellow to defeat them. Krishna knew it uski bas ki baat nahi hai. So he called Bhima to kill Jarasandha. And how to kill? Jarasandha had a boon. You tear him apart, his body will come together. You tear him and throw it, body will come together. So Krishna didn't say anything. Krishna said this way. So tear the body, throw it in the opposite end. The body could never come together. So once again, when it comes to vanquishing enemies, it is not wise enough to handle it all yourself. Get somebody else to do for you and give him the advice. Each story in the Mahabharata, each story, there are thousands of them. Story within story within story within story. Number of stories. So Jarasandha was a powerful warrior who had even Krishna with his divine powers did not think it fit to fight him directly. Jarasandha did not like Krishna because Jarasandha gave his two daughters in marriage to Kamsa. Krishna killed Kamsa. So he says, this fellow has killed my son-in-law, so I want to take revenge against him. Krishna thought it not fit to fight. So each of these stories have a great amount of philosophical, insightful depth. And we need to spend a lot of time in research on these texts. My suggestion to you is don't rely purely on translations. Because in translations, there's the demon, demoness, okay, mythology. Krishna tricked him. See, what happens is not a question of trickery. It is karma phala. It is karma phala. You trick, you will be tricked. It's karma phala. Karma phala. This is the law. If you cross the line, what happens? You will be hit by a car coming in the opposite direction. If not, picture will be taken, you will pay a fine. In India, laws are very lax. In some countries, if you break the traffic law 3 times, your license is suspended for 2 years. In India, everything sab kuch chalta hai. They say, in UK, driving is left side. In America, driving is right side. In India, driving is suicide, they say. So, but they say so, but it's okay. In India, sab kuch chalta hai. But remember, if you break the law, it is not allowed. A friend of mine was telling the other, I think our friend Lax was telling the other day, my good friend, he is here. He was traveling in Germany. He got into the wrong train. He said, I'm new, I don't know the language. They said, nothing doing, play 25 marks, fine. 25 Dutch mark, pay, fine. Lax was telling, my friend was telling the story that. So in some countries, the laws are very, aapne galti kiya, pay. So the law of karma will follow you, not just in this janma, in your next janma also, or janma after that. That is why the Vedic philosophy says that life is a cycle and not linear. If not here, here, it will follow. So these stories are insightful, and it took me a lot of effort to study and understand. And what I want to reiterate, that there's nothing religious about these stories. Religious means that there is only insight. But what happens is, it is very difficult to separate from a culture. From a culture, it is very difficult to separate certain symbols. For example, I can never call him Mr. Krishna. I have to call him Sri Krishna. Okay, in one group they said, no, you guys, this is it's a very secular gathering. You cannot use Lord Krishna. I said, "Theek hai yaar, Prince Krishna." Where is the problem? Prince Rama. See, certain symbols you cannot remove. You can't remove my vibhuti from my forehead. I mean, now it is not. You can't remove it from. I go in a three-piece suit also, I'll wear it. You can't remove it from. Some people are, so what happens is we have to understand that it is not religious, it is philosophical. It is insightful. It is meant for you and me to change our life here, now, today, not tomorrow, not in our next year. If these stories can help me change my life today, if it can give me certain insights, wonderful. But because it is a cultural thing, somebody would have written Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. I can't say ignore that. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, it is written Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. I can't say ignore. So therefore, it's very difficult to separate this, but we are not preaching any religious practice. We are only saying insightful things. So this is my humble presentation before this group. I brought you 3 full stories and Jarasandha in brief. Yes, Kumar, welcome. Kumar, want to ask something?
Thank you, Mohan. It was very wonderful. And the thing is, actually, 50% we know, 50% you said. We will just mix it and follow it. It's not a problem. But one doubt for me is actually in India, especially in Tamil Nadu, we have got all these things to quote. There are a lot of stories to just be told to the children also to follow.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we are, as you rightly said, the Indian road system and the US and other things, road system, they suspend, they just cancel the license, everything is there. But India, we just go scot-free for everything. But all these moral lessons which we as a children, we learn are not being told to the children of these days. And we are also at fault because of that. We should find a way to just carry all these things to the children. And I have already just made a request to you to just come to our institution sometime.
Yes.
And talk to the children there.
Yeah.
And
I as a person who speaks and share thoughts on it, I don't pontificate. In Bengali, say Gyan Deva. I don't pontificate. I don't lecture. I say do this. I try to bring out the truth insightfully. And I am willing, in my lifetime, whatever lifetime is left for me, I am willing to teach anybody who is willing to learn. My guru taught me, I am willing to teach. But the problem is, again in India, I need some trappings. Like I must do something, create something from my hand. Somebody will come and say, I don't have babies, what to do? I must give one Rudraksha so that you have 12 babies. Then I become a more philosophical person. These are problems in India. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Say one happened. There was a lady who had 12 children. She came to the Swami and said, I'm not having children. Swami said, go light a lamp somewhere. So she had 12 children. One day she came to see the Swami and he said, where is your husband? He said, he has gone to blow the lamp off. Because lamp lit karne ke baad 12 bacche aa gaye. So people expect miracles. They will say, do you read Jadagam? Do you read face reading? No, I don't read Jadagam. I don't do face reading. I don't do matchmaking. Okay. I don't teach mantras. I don't teach japa. I don't give personal one-to-one advice. But I'm willing to teach you our heritage. Itna 5,000 years of heritage. I'm willing to share. Yes, Sharma ji, you wanted to say something. Yes, sir.
With regards to that Kurukshetra, Krishna, then Arjuna was directly fighting with Karna in the war. it so happens due to his bad sins or whatever it is, Karna's chariot puts down. Then he comes down and requests Arjuna, please give me a time to lift up my chariot so that I can come back and fight you. Then Krishna says, no, take this as the only opportunity to kill him. You fish him out. Do you think it is a justification or what is it your explanation for this sort of a thing?
First of all, there is no justifications. I just heard a court case a few days ago. The principal secretary of the government says, I have just taken charge, sir. I have not been able to implement the court order. The judge says, when was the court order passed? 2012. What is the year now? 2021. For 9 years, what was the government doing? So today you are in charge. I will give you 2 days time, but please ask your government if you will pay 1 lakh rupees costs. And if you are not, if you are going to continue contempt of court, I will have to send you to jail. What is proper? Now, here, Karna was a person who did adharma at every point of time. Draupadi Vastrahan, Abhimanyu, a young warrior, he was the one who said, let's all kill him together. So Krishna simply said, just think, does this person who is now down on the war field, who doesn't follow dharma, does he deserve sympathy? You think it is like an encounter fellow. There's a fellow who constantly will get state order, and today he says, sir, surrender, sir. So what will the police say? Go encounter me maro. So we have 2 types of dharmas. One is called general dharma, the other is called Vishesha dharma. So in persons like characters like Karna, Duryodhana, Jarasandha, who are asuras by nature, who have a lot of asuric tendencies. See, when this is gangrene is formed, I have to cut it out. No dharma there, right? Right hand will go, this will go, that will go, no. So for yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamya paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma sansthapanabhaya sambhavami. It is a buddhi telling you. Krishna is the buddhi telling the ahankara, see, this is proper. It happened in India. Muhammad Ghori invaded India. Our Prithviraj Chauhan said, acha maaf kiya, chhod diya. What happened to Ghori? He came back and killed him. Not everybody deserves him. This is my 2 bits, sir. Yes, sir. Surya.
Well,
Are you able to hear, Ramon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Good,
Maharaj
good.
Rauji. Maharaj Rauji, yes.
If there is time, there are 1 or 2 things that I want to add to your excellent display.
Thank you.
You mentioned about, in the first case, Krishna's legs becoming weak.
Yeah.
And they become, I missed out that little part. Why did his legs become weak? Because I have a story.
Yeah. They say what happened is, see, any avatar has to come to an end. And Krishna was cursed by Gandhari that you will be killed. And when she cursed him, only the leg turned black. So that turned out to be the weak spot. So even in an avatara, according to the avatara rahasya, the avatara end, Krishna's weakest point turns out to be the actual heel. So Krishna's heel was mistaken to be a deer, having water, and that Vyagra hit the heel. So that is how the story. So that it says that Barbaric had the good spot, and that Barbaric's arrow made Krishna weak there. Even that avatara, being a human form, had to have a weakness. That's how the philosophy.
The story that I would say these are only additions to Itihasas.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, Krishna was the one who really was there, impartial throughout.
Yeah.
What he mentioned was even to Arjuna. He said, I will be your guide.
Yes.
But I will not take part in the war.
Correct.
He sticks to that word almost till the end.
Yeah.
There is one place where he does not stick to it. That is when Karna shoots the Sarpastra.
Yeah.
And it's coming at Arjuna.
Yeah.
He is not able to see it.
Hmm.
At that time, Krishna is supposed to have pressed the earth.
Yes. Yes. Ratha.
His big toe.
Yeah.
The earth goes down.
Yes.
And only the crown is knocked off.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Now the legend has it.
Yeah.
That having promised that he will not take part in the war, here he has taken part in the war by pushing the earth down at a critical moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
For that, the penalty to be paid is the weak spot, which is his big.
Yes. Yes. Correct. Yeah. I fully agree. Yes.
Finally, he's sitting there taking rest at the end of his avatar. He's shaking his big toe. The hunter thinks it's a parrot or a bird. So he shoots. Every other part of his body is intact except this. That is the one that he shoots.
Yes.
It is one story.
Yes.
It says that for all the goodness, for all the promises you have kept, for all the Paramatma you have been, you have done that one little thing which is wrong. And then the other story,
the karma phala follows you even there.
Exactly. The other story is a little more poignant about Ekalavya. Ekalavya gives as Guru Dakshina the thumb, right thumb, which disables him to become a class 1 warrior. And much later, during the war, after the war, there is a dialogue. And he is asked, but you're never sorry that you gave up your right thumb because it prevented you from becoming a great warrior. You turned out to be a teacher, but not the warrior that you could have become. He said, it's a very remarkable answer. I never felt sorry because what was claimed was logically his. He had given me tuition. He had asked for Guru Dakshina. I promised it. Therefore, I had to give what he asked.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But during the war, I felt sorry. And that's the only occasion that I felt bad for having lost my right thumb. That is because using a subterfuge, Ashwadhama Hata Kunjaraha, Dronacharya is totally disillusioned. And he says, no more fight. He lays down his arms, the bows and arrows. At that time, when he is powerless, he is killed. He says, if only I was in possession, my thumb, I would have gone to protect.
Ah, right. That's why Mahabharata has stories, sub-stories, so many sub-stories. Thank you, Raji, for filling out
and then
this
the
important
third one,
aspect.
which you did not broach upon today.
Thank you.
Just as Dronacharya did not want to teach Ekalavya, so was Parshurama, who had his own heads. He said he would teach only Brahmins. So Karna poses to be a Brahmin. And he takes tuition under Parshurama. So one day when Parshurama is tired and he is about to sleep, then the chap says, you put your head on my thigh, you can sleep. So during that time, again, this is a story, I don't know whether it's Indra who comes or Krishna who comes in the form of a wasp, and starts biting the thigh of Karna. Now Karna is able to withstand that and he does not want to disturb his guru. And the blood slowly trickles and it touches Parshurama. Then in a rush he wakes up. He says, if a man can withstand this, he is not a Brahmin. You have cheated him, posing to be something else. Therefore, I'll have to curse you. I cannot withdraw all the powers that I have given you, but I will give you only one curse. That at a moment when you really need it, your memory will fade.
Pure fell, yeah.
That is why when he is about to cast the Brahmastra, Karna loses his memory.
Right, right.
He is not able to cast it.
Correct, yeah.
So these are stories.
Yeah. The important aspects of each of these characters. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
I thank each one of you for being with me
I would
today.
have thought that you would reveal all these things, but somehow there was not much time. Now you can add so that others can take back.
Now, what I thought was today, 2 stories took so much time. That's why Karna, I only went into that Dhanam and a psychological.
That also is there. Yes.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to keep the time in mind. And thank you very much for being here with me, all of you. And I'm deeply appreciative. And Monday after this, we have one more session. That will be a different subject altogether, where my friend Lakshminarayan and I will be doing a joint session. That will be on a totally different subject.
The only thing that happens is when I enroll, when I register my name, I get the ID, I won't get the password. Password can come separately in an email.
Okay.
So,
but if you click on the time of joining, it will simply say join. The meeting is in progress.
It's always, we are not able to join on exactly.
So you can join.
Today there are 3 other meetings of the
Dignity
Foundation. So I was able to make it.
So thank you all.
Yesterday,
and I will,
your music
on the 6th of June.
Yes, more must come. We'll have to. So very well. Okay.
On the 6th of June, Monday, there is another session which Lakshminarayan ji and I will do. That session is called Memorable Melodies and Forgotten Composers. We'll do on Hindi movies, composers like C. Arjun, C. Arjun, Husanlal Bhagatram, and people like that.
Okay, sir.
When is that, Mohan? When is that?
6th June, Monday after next.
6th June. Okay, same time, no?
Same time, 5:30 to 6:30. 2 of us will be doing Husanlal Bhagatram, C. Arjun, Dattaram, and some other such people.
Okay.
You're all welcome to join. So we'll have a variety. I'll cover this, I'll cover movies, I'll cover a lot of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I will always butt in with some.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A wonderful story.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you, Mohan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravakshan.
Your humor also in between is very nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye to all.